All right, so this is the new metal song with the slow intro. It kind of has like a grindcore part, and then sort of like a what I would call like a '90s death metal, Florida death metal type thing. So the first chord, the first part is kind of the intro, which is. And so the point of that is like just to sound super, super, super fucking epic and low and harsh and just black and just disgust for the world. So it's kind of like our emo chord, right? So that's what this sounds like here. So you get the idea, right? So what that is it's just like a normal power chord. It's at the second dot, 5th fret on the A string, and then so that's a D power chord, and above is the D string. So basically, it's a power chord with an extra D. So I'm going to call that chord the double D because that's funny and clever because it's a process. But also, this D is lower than this D, and the lower you go, the more darker it sounds, and the more metal you are. So it's brilliant, right? So extra heavy, not wimpy. This, heavy, right? So, you just play that, and you let it out. Hell yeah. Then we go to the D string on the 3rd dot, which is the 7th fret, and we just do those 2 notes. So it's the 5th of that power chord, and then plus 1 more. And so what's cool is it's like an arpeggio, but there's 2 notes off the arpeggio that don't fit. So that's supposed to make it sound sick and evil. But what's even sicker is the notes are so close and so distorted that they might start harmonizing or trying to harmonize, but not quite, and wobbling, like when you tune a guitar. And that's like where we want to go. That's the money spot. That's like fucking heaven. Yeah, so let's see if we can do it right now. You can't make it happen. It just has to happen. It's in the gods. So here we go. Hell yeah, nitrous oxide. And sometimes, and so then the next part is kind of the same thing. You play that top note again. Then you go down to the G string and hit the 5th, which would be the octave of that A note. That's another A. And then what's this note? What is that? It's 8. You can't go beyond 8, but it's just like that D. We're pushing limits. So let's do it again. A little bit harder to get that wobble, but still close. So I do the bass player does it twice, and we do it twice all together. And then after that, it goes into a take on that riff where we're just doing the single A, the 5th, and then the note after that. Maybe it's a 6th, maybe it's a 5th and a half, and then same thing on the G. So it's. And this chord does take a little bit of chops, right? So the main thing is you want to be on top of the drum beat, on top of the fucking drum beat, all together. So what it's not is it's not a it's like kind of a takeoff of arpeggio. It's definitely not a blues scale. You're not, it's not a lead. Right on top of it, just bam, 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 all together on the with the drums, with the snare actually. So that's how I remember it. It's to play with the snare. So this is what we got so far. I'm going to attempt this. And so that's 4 times, right? And so the reason why you want to stay on top of the snare so much is because now we go into what I call the grindcore part. And that's just these top two notes here, right? And the notes don't even matter. The whole there's no melody to this. It's all about just like reinforcing that double bass drum. So the idea is you also just want to think of this as like almost like playing trigger drums or just your little trigger buttons, right? And so if I was going to play this, I would put just a little bit of a mute on it just to make it sound lower like the bass drum, and also just to make the noise coming out of the guitar a little bit more manageable. And so what that sounds like is... And so it sounds like two notes, it sounds silly, but if you're on top of the bass drum and we're all together, then it's going to sound like crazy, epic, like grind. Like when bands play grind, you're like, oh my god, it's so fast and crazy. Well, really, they're just playing two notes back and forth super fast. So I'm going to try to play the whole thing. Well, I'll play the second part into the third part, just so you know. Because really, if those get consistently, they just sound like one part. And it fell apart because I suck at guitar. But you get the idea. So I'm going to attempt to try to play the whole thing. And then it just goes back into the, those other parts. So what we got is... And that last little ring just makes it sound even more epic, because then we're going to go into the next part, which, of course, is I like to call them triplets, but technically they're not triplets, but it's the... Oh, I always forget, it's not power chords. So it's down, gallop, 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 down, ba na na na, down, gallop, 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 gallop. Bunch of gallops, I guess.